Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? I have one long story for you today, so listen till the end to hear insights and updates. So, the story is about OP's sister-in-law, who is trying to set up OP with a guy she likes herself. Drama. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment. So, my brother has been married to my sister-in-law for almost 10 years. She had a 5-year-old from a past relationship, and with my brother, she had 2 more kids. My eldest nephew is 15 years old and has a real father-son relationship with my bro. My family has known my sister-in-law isn't completely sane since years ago. She's almost 10 years older than my brother, and maybe she has an issue with this, or maybe it's the fact her father has 2 families, meaning he has 2 wives and has kids with each wife. Each family pretends the other doesn't exist, but it's not a secret for any of them. Weird stuff. Or maybe it's everything, but she's been very controlling and manipulative since my second nephew was born. She even burned my brother's books once out of anger and has done lots of weird crap, but still, my brother sometimes gets back with her and then things look happy and perfect until something happens and then they separate again. To be fair, they always try to be civil and help each other so the kids have as much stability as possible and as happy as any kid deserves, and so far, the children seem very happy. Anyway, recently, my sister-in-law texted me saying, "I know this is weird, but I have this friend who I'd like to introduce you to. Just don't tell my brother, cause he'll get mad at me." She sent me the guy's picture, told me he's a psychologist and he's very tall. I'm tall too. She also said he hasn't had great experiences with women, but he's a very good friend of hers. She said she'd thought maybe we could get along and at least go out for some coffee together or something. She also mentioned that he wanted to meet me. When I asked her why, she said, "He found you cute, nice." She said Linda, which can be interpreted both ways, and you have friends in common. You know, we all know each other here. We live in a small town, so this made sense. I didn't ask more questions, just told her to give him my number and we'd text. A week later, the guy texts me, saying he's a friend of my sister-in-law and wanted us to get to know each other. We start talking and get along pretty well immediately. When I asked him why he wanted to meet me, he said, "Well, to meet new people. My sister-in-law said great things about you, and here I am. And I like you, to be honest." I liked him too. He seemed kind, intelligent, funny, and honest, as far as you can tell through texts. We texted a lot the whole week, though he said he worked from 15 to 23 almost every day, so we wouldn't talk in those hours. I get excited about the whole thing pretty fast, as I haven't felt this way with anyone since a long time ago. Had a big breakup 2 years ago and haven't had any serious relationship since then. We're just slightly flirty and have a couple of what felt like deep conversations through text about his unhappiness in his job, life in general, psychology. Things do feel well. I've been getting therapy since before my big breakup, and I figured out, thanks to my psychologist, that one of my issues is trusting people by default. Like, I don't let people win my trust. I just assume people is kind and they wouldn't have any bad intentions. So I'm thinking about that, telling myself I have to be patient and take things super slowly and really get to know this guy. That was yesterday morning, Monday. On Sunday night, my brother had told me that he had some things to take care of off near my workplace, and if he could take me home and see my dad. I live with my parents, and my dad had a major surgery recently. So on Monday, my bro picks me up at work, and we talk about Netflix shows, films, and whatever. Right before my parents' block, he parks the car and tells me he has to talk to me. I was very worried, obviously. He smiled and said I had done nothing wrong, and he hadn't done nothing wrong either. It was just a thing that might happen later, and he wanted to talk to me about it. I've always had a great relationship with both my brothers, and it's not weird for my brother and I to talk about our personal issues and worries. He tells me him and my sister-in-law, who have been separated for I don't know how long, recently decided to give their relationship another try, and things were great. Apparently, the only issue was my sister-in-law said she recently was dating someone and seemed to have a struggle letting go of that relationship. My brother said he understood that, and he even talked to her about giving each other time, months even, to sort whatever issues each may have before getting together again. But she was reluctant and didn't seem willing to talk about it rationally. She just didn't want to talk about it. This is where the twisted part begins. He said she so far has told him different versions of the story. Version 1. She had something with the guy. Version 2. They were only friends and he has a girlfriend and the girlfriend is kinda crazy. What's the truth? Who knows? He says she keeps bringing up the guy for no apparent reason, like pointing out that a random guy in the street looks like him and stuff like that, the way a manipulative teenager would. Like she was trying to make my brother jealous while claiming he doesn't have any reason to complain because 1. She's not actually doing nothing wrong, and the guy is her friend, and she has every right to have friends. And 2. Because my brother had tons of friends when they just got married, and she didn't like them but had to live with that anyway, so she should be able to do the same. Very weird. He says he's growing more and more tired of the whole thing, as she says she wants to be with him and be happy, but then has this thing with that guy that isn't even clear. Then one day, out of nowhere, she told him her friend would be perfect for me. My brother just ignored her, but then later, my sister-in-law told him she had introduced the guy to me. So my brother said he was worried, as he didn't know what the point of all that was. Didn't the guy have a girlfriend? Wasn't the guy a former lover or whatever of hers? Now, my sister-in-law has a bad relationship with her brother and sister. They're all as weird as her, and seems to dislike those close relationships my family has. Dislike, or maybe just doesn't understand it, or she's jealous, or seriously, she's weird. So maybe she assumed him and I would never talk about this whole thing. So her and my brother's relationship aside, which also worries me, but he's actively trying to work that out by himself. I have many doubts. Is she trying to keep the guy around to annoy my brother, or because she really likes him as a person, or because she does have more than an innocent friendship with him? Does the guy have a girlfriend? What's his real relationship with my sister-in-law? Does he know all about that crap, or has no idea about the story my sister-in-law possibly made up? Are they both trying to get the guy to seduce me or whatever, for whatever sick reason? Did she just introduce the guy to me as a means to hurt my brother, cause I'm very important to him, and make distance between us? Or is everybody innocent? She and the guy are just friends. She honestly thinks he and I would make a good couple. The guy really is as cool as he seemed to me, and he's single, and we will all be very happy. This is probably very stupid, or very weird, or I don't know. I'm confused, guys. My brother said my sister-in-law can be very simple and also very manipulative. So it really could be anything. He also said she angrily told him recently, "You will know him very soon," as if it was already decided. Which means, as someone who previously had an emotionally abusive relationship and was, unknowingly, cheated on twice, I still have issues, and this whole thing makes me feel crappy. Also, I'm even considering trying to find out the truth about the guy's relationship with my sister-in-law through the guy. Is my sister-in-law using me to harm my brother? Is she cheating on him, or just trying to make him believe that to hurt him? Is she that crazy, or is she just hoping my brother will stop worrying about her story about the guy and her if she introduces the guy to me, while still bringing the guy up to hurt him? Who knows, guys? I'm confused, and I feel down and uncomfortable. The guy is texting me, and I can't even bring myself to answer. Maybe he's completely innocent and a really good guy, but I don't know. If you have any suggestions, point of view, advice, question, or comment, you're completely welcome. It sounds like OP just sticks to friends or acquaintances with the guy. OP should not completely burn the bridge, so there's nothing to gossip about. Whatever is happening with OP's sister-in-law and brother, it's messy. This seems like an attempt to drag OP into it all. Be it romantic or not, it's just too much drama. OP should quietly walk away from it and not get involved in the details of her brother and sister-in-law. They can figure things out for themselves. Edit. This is a semi-update. Though this is still not over. I wanted to first add something I remembered my bro told me. Once, when they were still together, years ago, she used to constantly mention a guy she worked with. Like she wanted my brother to be jealous. As you may have guessed now, my brother is a very charismatic dude, and apparently cute, cause he's always getting female attention. He's not a jealous guy. He's actually very patient and chill. My sister-in-law is very pretty, and maybe gets male attention too. I don't know. But she does have an issue with my brother having female friends and acquaintances. She mentioned they were talking all the time, and she visited him in his office and spent hours talking and yada yada. Then, at a party at her workplace. Did I mention we live in a very small town? Also, my brother and sister-in-law are both in the art editorial business, so they have tons of acquaintances in common. Where he knew most people. He saw the guy my sister-in-law supposedly talked with all the time, and they didn't even say hello to each other. He asked my sister-in-law about it, and she said whatever. He says they were either hiding something or she had made everything up. This little anecdote might help you understand why this isn't quite clear. Also, Guy texted me yesterday to say hello, and we started talking. He asked me out for coffee, and when I didn't answer, he asked if it was too soon. I said maybe, and he said I'm sorry, and I told him not to worry. He said he hoped he didn't make me feel uncomfortable or pressured. I said no. Yesterday, Tuesday, and today are his free days, so I asked him what were his plans. He said he didn't have any yet. I asked if he has a girlfriend, and he said no. He asked if I had a boyfriend, and I said no. I asked how long it's been since he's had a girlfriend. I promise I was so smooth as possible about it. And he said that it was a long story. He then asked if I wanted to and felt like reading a long story. I said of course. He then told me it had been actually some weeks since his breakup. He had been with this girl for 3 years, but they kept breaking up and getting back together. They hadn't seen each other in months when their psychologist passed away. They reunited then. Both very sad cause the guy had helped them a lot and had meant a lot for each of them, and ended up having something. It wasn't something formal, and he soon realized he wasn't happy and it wasn't right. So he broke things off. The girl was mad at him, but he felt way better once they finally separated, as he knew they weren't happy together and they had tons of unsolved issues. He kept mentioning how it's very important to be honest with yourself and that you can't really lie to yourself when it comes to feelings, and how he's matured a lot since he and the girl started their relationship and how therapy helped him a lot. He advised me to always be open to receiving professional help if I need it, but said that ultimately the path we take is in our hands. We had talked about our experiences with therapy and how much it's helped us. So it all seemed very sincere and honest to me. He asked how long I have been without a relationship, and I said 2 years. He said, "Wow, that's a long time." And I laughed and said, "Yeah, I guess, but I have had a great time and I've matured a lot." He asked me why did me and my ex break up, and I said it was a long story. He said that if I wanted to share it, he was open to listening. I said I did want to, but I was about to have dinner, so it would have to wait. We continued talking about sports and other things, and after I had dinner and got ready to bed, we still were talking, and I finally fell asleep. When I woke up, I had texts from him asking me what did I have for dinner, and later saying, "You fell asleep, didn't you? And sleep tight, and have a nice day tomorrow." I also texted my brother to see how he's doing, and he said he's okay. He's still, in his words, trying to be the perfect husband to my sister-in-law, who got ill recently, so he's taking care of her and their children. But she probably realized already that our friendship and our trust is broken, and that she probably knows why. He's referring to the fact my sister-in-law had recently tried to make him forget the whole deal with Guy, while at the same time bringing him up for no reason. He's been distant towards her because of this, and since she kept insisting there wasn't a problem at all, and everything was fine, and was reluctant to discuss this, she supposedly doesn't know why he's hurt. A mess, I know. But he seemed to realize that even if she's told him he deserves this, he doesn't want his life to be this way, and is already making decisions. I understand him. I know those situations are hard as duck. I'll give him my psychologist's number. In case this is important, my sister-in-law is a freelance designer and works from home. My brother lives literally around the corner of her house. He lives in a house my parents own. My sister-in-law and him together decided she'd move close to him so they can be near the kids. He gets the kids ready and takes them to school every day. He helps them study in the afternoons, and they constantly visit each other. The children stay with him every weekend. He takes care of my sister-in-law when she's ill or something. They go to school events together. They sometimes take the kids out together. As I said earlier, sister-in-law and my bro try to make the kids feel their father lives with them and is a part of their lives. They're usually very civil towards each other. Someone made an interesting point that my sister-in-law probably wanted me to tell my brother about it, then got impatient, waiting for him to blow up in her face, and told him herself. I've copied my answer to her. This all happened a couple of weeks ago, as I mentioned. I was supposed to see my sister-in-law and brother this past Saturday. They visited my dad and ate with my family. My other brother was there too. But I got home late. I had assumed they'd stay the whole weekend, as they usually do, but they had a family of hers gathering to attend. I arrived just when they were leaving. When I met with bro yesterday, Monday, he mentioned she probably intended me to ask about the guy in front of him on Saturday, but you didn't give her a chance, he said, jokingly, referring to the fact that I wasn't there on time. Somebody probably very right. She got impatient and told him herself. I should ask him when did she tell him, but I assume she did it that same weekend, as he decided to talk to me ASAP. He did say he could barely sleep on Sunday night, as he felt uneasy about the whole thing. I maybe didn't clear this up before, but I also told my brother everything my sister-in-law told me when she asked me if she could introduce me to Guy. I told him she asked me not to tell him, cause he doesn't like her friends and etc. He laughed and said, I don't, but the don't tell him part seemed to bother him. I also hadn't mentioned this, but I told my mom about Guy and how sister-in-law asked me not to tell my brother. Like me, my mom assumed the reason was the seriously hundreds of arguments my sister-in-law and bro had regarding his and her friends. It's one of those things we just don't pay much mind to, as we know they're a ducking roller coaster, and only they know what's going on between them. My mom just said, "And she doesn't like this?" And I said, "Yep." I told her Guy was actually very nice and mentioned a couple of our conversations, and she said she was glad I'd met a nice person. So, you see, I didn't intend to keep this a secret, and sister-in-law probably knew, but yeah, he told me everything my sister-in-law told him, and I told him everything my sister-in-law told me. I just didn't mention to him that I actually like the guy. I just told him, yeah, I've talked to him, and didn't say how often or my thoughts on him. For those who asked what's Guy's job and why he works so many hours, he's a therapist caretaker in a shelter for children and teenagers who are orphaned or have problems. It's a well-known local institution. He told me since we started talking he doesn't enjoy his schedule and he's looking for a new job, as it's exhausting to deal with the situations he's had to face every day. Clearly, it's not an easy job. To those wondering why I don't just ghost the guy and forget about him: 1. I'm not really into ghosting. 2. I really like him so far. 3. I don't even know if he knows all this story. He might be unaware. 4. I'm interested in finding out what's the truth. 5. I'm not willing to let this get out of control either, so don't worry. I'm not attached to him, and I wouldn't have an issue letting him go if it would for some reason put my relationship with my brother at risk, or my brother's peace of mind, happiness. Bro assured me he'd have no issue with me dating Guy if he's a good person and makes me happy. But there's still some things I need to figure out. We just met. He's just out of a relationship, and I clearly have issues to work out with my therapist's help. I'm taking things slowly, and I assure you, my family has a very strong bond, and we've had issues in the past, but we've never let those things hurt our relationship. Even when we're mad at each other, we still care for everyone, and my brother and I have very good communication. As he said right before telling me all this mess, we're good friends, aren't we? We've known each other for a long time.